Banishing. You've probably heard of it. But what is it? How is it done? And should you be doing it? Hey folks, this is James, aka Thresciornis, and today I'm going to talk to you about one of the most ubiquitous rituals in the Western esoteric tradition, banishing. It comes down to us through ceremonial magic, but it's been picked up by witchcraft and the New Age movement in general. It looks different from tradition to tradition, but generally has the same forms and functions, and most of it's based off a ritual known as the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram. Here's your history lesson. Banishing is a fairly modern concept. Although ancient sources well into ancient times talk of exorcism, banishing and exorcism are not really the same thing. Exorcism is specific about expelling a spirit from a person, object, or place, while banishing is kind of a more nebulous general practice. The Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, or LBRP for short, is the creation of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. We talked about the Golden Dawn before on this show. It was founded in 1888, so it can hardly be called ancient magic. While some of the Golden Dawn's rituals are interpretations of ancient rites, the LBRP is not one of them. It seems to be cobbled together from disparate sources. The Golden Dawn would claim that the ritual comes down to us from a group of documents called the cipher manuscripts. Founders of the Golden Dawn say that the cipher manuscripts were given to them by a group of Freemasons, or alternatively, it was created by the Rosicrucians. Either way, most evidence points to the founders of the Golden Dawn writing the ritual themselves. This is not entirely a bad thing. Many members of the Golden Dawn were pretty good scholars themselves, and the works that they produced shouldn't be entirely written off. What makes the LBRP so important is that it was the first ritual taught to initiates of the Golden Dawn, who were instructed to perform it at least once per day. Given the huge influence of the Golden Dawn on modern Western occultism, it's no surprise that this ritual shows up in Gerald Gardner's original Book of Shadows for Wicca and was published by Dion Fortune of the Theosophical Society. I'm not going to give you instructions on how to perform the ritual. You can easily find that with a Google search. But let's break it down by its component parts and try to figure out what the ritual is actually doing. The first part of the ritual is called the middle pillar. It starts with the performer standing in place and touching their forehead, breast, and shoulders, while vibrating the names of different Kabbalistic Sephiroth, which are, in a simplistic sense, the foundational themes that make up the universe. Here we see shades of chakras with body parts being corresponded to certain energies. It seems to me that this part of the ritual is what is often referred to as grounding, something that declares the magician's place in the universe and their connection to it. It essentially says, be here now. In the second part of the ritual, the performer starts to circumbobulate, that is, move in a circle, stopping at stations and tracing pentagrams in the air in the cardinal directions, and calling out the traditional names of God in Hebrew. Many have theorized why the names were chosen, why they were put in this particular order, and why they were placed in specific directions. The most likely author of the ritual, Samuel Little McGregor Mathers, is silent on the subject, and it is possible they were just chosen at random. Now, this is just my conjecture, but I think calling out the names of God is a way to show your allegiance to the Godhead, or declare yourself as the Godhead, or simply align yourself with the forces of creation. But what this part of the ritual really does is create sacred space. By moving in a circle, tracing the pentagrams, you're creating a space for which magic can happen. The last part has the magician return to the center of the circle and call out the names of 4 archangels. This part's a no-brainer for me as someone who works within the spirit model. This is calling in your spirit allies, the people who will protect you or grant you the agency in which to do magic. After that, the middle pillar is performed again and the ritual ends. Keep in mind, the most important part of the ritual are the visualizations you're performing while doing it. The exact nature of those visualizations differs from tradition to tradition, but all of them call upon the magus to bring images into their mind while performing it. One can even say that the ritual mostly takes place in the mind, and in the Golden Dawn tradition, novices were required to be able to perform the ritual completely in the astral sense, that is, completely by visualization. By now, I hope you're asking yourself, why am I doing this? And why is it called banishing? Better occultists than I have pointed out that banishing is probably a poor name for this ritual. If that was the original intention, it doesn't even ask for anything to go away. Crowley would fix this later on with his own banishing ritual, the Star Ruby, with its command Apopantos Kakadamenos, which means get behind me, every evil daemon. But what evil spirit is it even talking about? In our book, Emergent Magic, we call it centering and grounding. Though really what it comes down to is the ritual you do before you do other rituals. There's plenty of good reasons to do this. Even for a diehard follower of the spirit model like me, it's impossible to ignore that there's a psychological component to magic. It requires altered states of consciousness, which in the end is what this ritual does. It separates normal time from magical time. Having a ritual like this can be handy. Practicing the ritual creates a trigger in your mind, an almost Pavlovian response that says, this is the time of magic. I'm about to do something special. I must now turn my mind away from mundane things like paying bills, work, studying, and all the things we have to do in our daily lives, and concentrate on the magic you are about to do. Of course, you don't have to do the lesser banishing ritual, the pentagram. I highly recommend making a banishing ritual of your own that fits your own tradition and your own beliefs. But we can take some clues from the LBRP on what that should look like. First, there should be a grounding, a series of movements, words, and visualizations that make you focus on where you are now. Second, you should be creating sacred space. Not only is this a special time, it's a special place where magic occurs. Last, call in some allies. Call on the spirits you trust, even if they are, for you, only manifestations of your own consciousness. The ritual should be short, no longer than 15 minutes. Shorter would be even better. My own is exactly 7 minutes and 34 seconds. And I know this because it's set to music, specifically Corona Radiata by 9 Inch Nails. And you can set yours to music as well to help with the visualizations and the timing. As an added bonus, now all I have to do is listen to Corona Radiata and I enter into a slight trance state. Though, pro tip, if you do end up using music for your banishing ritual and are practicing it regularly, you may not want to put that song into the playlist while you're driving. Some people say you should perform a banishing before and after every ritual. Personally, I think that's overkill. It's fine to do one before embarking on a series of rituals. As to after, and this is where I'm going to disagree with the majority and people are probably going to yell at me. As someone whose magic is primarily working with the spirits, I really have no compelling reason to just tell them to go away after. I'm fine if they hang out. I'm fine with small, sometimes annoying manifestations happening within my home. I have tools such as exorcism in order to get rid of such things if they become a problem. But for me, manifestation of the spirit is what I'm looking for. That's the result. So why am I going to chase them away after every time that I do ritual? I'm fine with them hanging around. Maybe in the future we'll do a video on exorcism, but hey, it's that time. And you know, the thing that's going to really help us bring you more is to like and subscribe. If you want to hear more about basic techniques in magic, let me know in the comments. Don't forget, we're going to Egypt in November. I know I keep saying it, but I could really use your help with that. There's licenses we need to buy to film at the sacred sites and camera equipment to make sure that we capture the majesty of the monuments and the tombs as best as possible. We got our Redbubble store where you can buy Scroll of Thoth merchandise if you'd like to get a little something for your money. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.